I've got a quick video on VCE. Basically, I'm making this for international students, Victorian students. I think HSC, which is in Sydney or New South Wales, is very similar to this. I'm just doing a quick explanation of VCE. So VCE is when you finish year 12, you get a ranking or a score in Australia, an ATAR score, which it's basically a ranking of how you did against everyone else, which has its pros and its cons. So in Australia, well, where I come from in Victoria, there's VCE. So I'm going to explain VCE for anyone that's doing VCE at the moment, going to do VCE, international students and whatnot. So first thing I want to stress for you is VCE is a competition. I don't think many people realize it, but VCE is a competition, unfortunately. It's not like IB, International Baccalaureate, where it's theoretically, everyone can get a 45 out of 45, which equates to an ATAR score of 99.95. So basically, I'll just outline some rules. For VCE, basically, you need to do English units 1 to 4. You can do literature instead, or you can change from literature 1, 2, and then do English 3, 4. And I think you can do vice versa. So you need English. And English has to be in your top 4 subjects to get counted. And if it's not in your top 4, it'll still be in your top 4, and the other subject, which is the lowest, will only be included in the 10%. So 4 subjects get counted fully. 5th, 6th, not everyone does a 6, not everyone does a 5th, but they get counted 10% to your score, which can really, bump up scores just a tiny bit to get into courses. So basically, VCE is used, or ATAR scores are used to get into university, maybe TAFE and that. So you want to go well in these. So you can do as many subjects as you want, but most schools will make you do 5 or 6. You can also do units 3 and 4 in year 11, which is very good to boost your score. I'd highly recommend that. Because basically you can allocate most of your time to your 3-4 subject, get a good score in that, and then next year you know how the VCE works, and you also got a good score. So study scores are ranked so for English or biology or psychology, scores are out of 1 to 50. So a 50 is a perfect score, and I just want to tell you about how 2% of students will get a score on or above 45 for subjects with more than 1,000 people. And 26% of students will get a score on or above 35. So for a score from 35 to 50 is pretty hard. You have to be ranking well in the state. 93% of all students will get a score of 20 and above. 20 is pretty average. 30 is not average. I mean, it's pretty bad. So want to watch out for that. You want to be aiming for 30 and above, which is the average. Of course, remember, it's not numerical. It's all a ranking and a competition. So depending on how the state will determine your score. But if you work hard, you will get the score you want. Now, a lot of people do VCE just to get the certificate. That's fine. So there may be scores down in the 20s or even lower. Basically, to get a good VCE score, you need to get most of your subjects over 35, and that'll put you in the 80s and above. The highest score for VCE is 99.95, which means you are better than 99.95 the state in terms of VCE. Basically, in VCE, you have SACs, school assessed coursework, and basically they account for, let's say, 40% of your score. So let's say you get A pluses in all the SACs, which is you want to get that, and then you sit the exam and you get a C plus. So this getting a low result in the exam but a high result in SACs could result in your exam getting marked down, as all SACs are different at most schools usually. So basically, if you go bad in an exam and really good in SACs, the VCAA think your school's giving easy exams out, easy SACs, sorry, and they mark down your results. So this can really affect. I know rank 1, there's cohorts, right? Everyone at your school doing that subject is put into a cohort, and you're ranked in terms of ability from SACs. And if your SAC is ranked 1, so you're the best in that subject at that school, you don't get affected by scaling, because there's also further scaling on how your class does or your year level does in that subject. So basically, VCE, you want to be really competitive with your SACs in your class. You don't want to take it too competitively, but you want to actually work with your, even though it's a competition, you want to work with your classmates, because the better your class does, the better your results will all be. So it's kind of hard for some schools that have got weak cohorts. So that's why you want to be rank 1 in a weak cohort. But other schools, so like selective schools, private schools and that, they usually have strong cohorts, which allows them, to get higher scores on average. So basically, there's also a GAT, which is if you miss your exams due to being sick or something, like you have to be legitimately sick with a medical certificate and all that. A GAT's basically a general achievement test, and it can basically scale your results from this test, but the GAT won't be used in your results if you attend everything. So basically, I'm just going to do a quick, I'm just going to put in some generic classes, right? And we're going to play around with this calculator to show what VCE scores are possible. So I'm just going to do some really generic scores. So we've got biology, we'll do further mathematics. So as you can see, that's 5 subjects. So let's say you're fairly fluent in English, you enjoy the books and analyzing them. So let's say you get a 38. So far, if you just get a 38 in English, your ATAR score is under 30. By the way, ATAR ranks everyone that's supposed to be in your year level. So even people that have dropped out in TAFE and that will get an ATAR score, but it'll all be under 30 and they won't actually receive their ATAR score. So they put in these kids that have dropped out and stuff or not completing it, so, allowing you to, jump up the ladder in a way for completing VCE. So yeah, people under 30 haven't done it and they don't get their score anyway. So let's say psychology, we get a 35. Okay, and I just want to notice over here, we have raw and we have scaled. Basically, raw is your raw score, and scaled is the score after it's been scaled. So you can see in English, a 38 gets marked down to 36.6, which is quite weird considering you have to do English, but never mind. As you can see, psychology, 35 goes down to a 33. So there are some subjects that get marked up, some that get marked down. For example, Latin, it's considered a hard subject and not many people do it, and it gets marked up 15 or something. But some obscure languages get marked up high, and math methods and chemistry, stuff like that, they get marked up. But we got to play around with this for a bit. So yeah. Okay, let's say we get a 40 in business management. And so far we've got an ATAR of 53.80, and the business management gets marked down 3. So biology will put in a 35. Okay, we're up to an 81.25, which is 81.25% better than the state. This is just a basic calculator. So I just want to say biology gets marked up actually once you get to 35. And then let's say further mathematics, you get, let's say, a 40. So you end up with 85.95, which can get you into many courses at many universities. It can get you into the top universities and some degrees, so that's pretty good. And I just want to show what happens. Let's say you did a 3-4 in year 11. We'll add a class like chemistry. Let's say you did chemistry and you worked really hard in that year, and you ended up with a 45. Boom. There, your score gets marked up from the 45 to the 48, and you get an ATAR of 93.20, which can get you into heaps of courses. You'd have a huge selection and range. So it's very like, you want to be, if you can, try to a 3-4 subject in year 11. It'll help you out heaps. I'll just put in generic scores. So if you got a 30 in everything, I'll just show in these subjects, I'll show you what you get. And as you can see, the weakest 2 subjects, or the weakest 1 after the 4 main subjects, English included, is only 10% of your score. So a lot of people focus on their primary 4. So if you got a 30 in everything in these subjects, you'd only end up with a 68. Let's say you only get a 20 in there, 20 in there, and 20 in there. You'll end up with a 58. But let's say we get a 50 in business management. It boosts it up, and just a 30 there, 30, and a 35 there. You can play around this. If you want to go to the website, ATARcalc.com. Basically, if you've got anything to say, please comment. I may make another video to explain it better in a way. Hopefully this was simple. Any questions, just message me or comment, and I'll try make another video maybe to explain specifically to your questions and whatnot. I hope I didn't go into too much detail, but I just want to get it out there because I know a lot of people don't actually know what's happening, and people that want to know about VCE, international students or students that will be completing it soon, and also people that have done it to see how it's changed, or how it works these days. And you can complete VCE when you're a bit older, so there's a lot of people out there that want to know how it works, and some people don't explain it well. But anyway, thanks for listening, and yeah, that should be it. Thank you.